Let's jump right into this explainer. We hear the phrase women's empowerment everywhere, right? From corporate boardrooms to big global development goals. But what does it actually mean, both structurally and practically, when we strip away the buzzwords? Today, we're unpacking the research to show that true empowerment isn't just some label you can slap on a corporate program. It's a profound, ongoing, strategic journey.
So, to make this massive concept a bit more digestible, here's our roadmap. We're looking at defining true empowerment, the 3 core pillars, why it goes beyond just having a job, the role of intersectionality, and finally, how it benefits all of society.
All right, starting with part 1, defining true empowerment, a journey of choice.
To really get our heads around this topic, we have to absolutely bust the myth that empowerment is just some static destination you arrive at. Actually, it's firmly grounded in development economist Naila Kabir's widely cited 1999 definition. She describes empowerment as the fundamental transition from being denied choices to actively making strategic life choices. It literally requires a starting point of disempowerment, where those choices were previously denied, and moves toward actively acquiring the capability to choose.
Think about the strategic choices you probably take for granted every single day. Things like choosing whether to get married or who to marry, whether to have kids, or what career path to go down. This journey is all about securing the freedom to make those exact life-altering decisions. So it's an active, ongoing transformation of power relations. It is definitely not just a box you check off on a survey and say, done.
Moving on to section 2, the 3 core pillars, building the foundation.
So, we can take this big, kind of abstract idea of making choices and break it down into 3 interconnected elements. The KIT Institute brilliantly illustrates this model. Just look at how agency, resources, and institutional structures continuously feed into one another in this loop. A change in a woman's individual agency can alter her resources, which then eventually shifts the broader institutional structures around her.
You can really think of this like a 3-legged stool. If any one of these pillars is missing, the entire structure just falls flat. You literally cannot focus purely on giving a woman tools without addressing the laws of her country, and on the flip side, you can't change the laws without ensuring she has the inner power to actually act on them.
Let's zoom in and see how this builds, starting with the first pillar, agency. Agency is the absolute heart of the empowerment model. It's the internal capability, that sense of self-worth, and the critical consciousness you need to direct your own life. It's that power within that allows a woman to set her own goals and take purposeful action, completely free from the threat of violence or retribution.
But of course, agency needs fuel to operate, right? And that is where Pillar 2, resources, comes in. These are the tangible and intangible tools that make action possible. We usually just think of resources as money or land, but the research highlights that it also includes human and social capital. Things like schooling, healthcare, and crucially, time. Think about it. If a woman's time is entirely eaten up by unpaid labor, she completely lacks a critical resource needed to exercise her agency.
Finally, we have Pillar 3, institutional structures. This represents the entire environment surrounding the woman, her family, her community, the market, and the state. You could have all the agency and resources in the world, but if discriminatory laws prevent you from owning property, or if restrictive cultural norms dictate that women shouldn't speak in public, well, those structures are going to block true empowerment. Broad empowerment simply cannot happen without transforming these external rules.
Which brings us to section 3, beyond just having a job, instrumental versus transformative.
Now this brings us to a really vital nuance in the research. Just placing women in the workforce does not automatically equate to empowering them. Notice the really sharp contrast here. The left side shows simple economic participation, earning a wage, which is honestly what a lot of early development models focused on. But true transformative empowerment, what we see on the right, requires her to actually have control over that income. If she works all day, but her husband or her father just takes her wages, she's not empowered. She has to have a voice in the household and the actual ability to change power dynamics.
The UN Secretary General's high-level panel put this perfectly. They noted that empowering women economically is not just the right thing to do to honor human rights, it's also the smart thing to do for development. But researchers are quick to warn against treating women just as a country's natural resource to boost the GDP. It's only when institutional frameworks recognize women's rights and well-being, rather than just instrumentalizing their labor for economic prosperity, that economic participation finally bridges into genuine transformative autonomy.
Okay, moving to section 4, the role of intersectionality, navigating different realities.
For this, we need to zoom out and look at diverse lived experiences. Because we really can't talk about women as a single homogeneous group. It prompts a pretty necessary question. Does a wealthy urban woman face the exact same barriers to making strategic life choices as a marginalized rural woman? The data tells us definitively, no way. They are navigating entirely different realities.
The answer here lies in intersectionality. This is a concept introduced by Kimberly Crenshaw back in 1991, and it shows that overlapping identities significantly alter the empowerment journey. A single-axis approach that only looks at gender in isolation will completely miss the mark when you're trying to design effective empowerment strategies.
You see, gender intersects deeply with class, culture, geography, and race to create these complex, layered forms of privilege and disadvantage. A woman from a low-income household faces economic dependencies that a wealthier woman simply doesn't. Ethnic and caste identities can severely constrain access to employment or political participation. Truly understanding empowerment means we have to recognize these compounded barriers.
And finally, Section 5, a benefit for all society, the ripple effect.
Shifting our lens from the individual to society at large, we see that this isn't just a women's issue. It's a global imperative that transforms the world for everyone. The data reveals that when women acquire the ability to make strategic choices, it actively reshapes institutions for the better. It strengthens inclusive governance because diverse voices are actually making the decisions. It drives genuine economic prosperity, advances social justice, and, critically, it creates immense intergenerational well-being.
Drawing on the work of economist Amartya Sen, we see the ultimate payoff here. True empowerment is an ongoing process that organically transfers its benefits to the very next generation. Empowered women redistribute power, resources, and opportunities by investing deeply in family health and education. It is quite literally a transformative force capable of reshaping societies equitably and sustainably.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct question based on everything we've looked at today. Think back to that three-legged stool we talked about: agency, resources, and structures. What structural changes are still needed in your own corner of the world, in your own community, to turn denied choices into strategic, empowered actions? Keep that in mind as you look at the world around you. Thanks for joining me on this deep